What's going on, Slay Bays? It's your girl Ashley and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I'm going to be doing a full face using only e.l.f. cosmetics. I haven't filmed a video like this in quite some time, so it definitely was long overdue. I'm going to sit down and just revisit the brand as a whole, let you guys know my thoughts, what's hot, what I don't like, and things like that on camera. Y'all know how we do it here, super honest. Y'all are going to get the real raw tea. I'm actually really excited to kind of revisit these palettes right here. You guys know I hauled these a few videos back. I already used the 18 Hit Wonders palette. I also used the new classics. Today, I think I want to dabble into Opposites Attract, which I think is very cool. So we have cool on this side and then warm on this side right here. I also have this rose gold palette that looks very, very promising. Like, honey, come on, in it too, with it. I'm so excited. So if you guys still have not subscribed to my channel, make sure you guys press the subscribe button, click that bell so that way you guys are notified anytime I upload, which is every Tuesday and Thursday, 2 times a week, every single week. And without further ado, y'all, let's go ahead and hop right into the video. Moving right along to eyeshadow, I will be using this. This is the Opposite Attract palette by e.l.f. Now, what I really love about this palette is that it does have a mixture between warm and also cool tones, which is really cool, really dope. So if you tend to lean more towards like warm, I think it's cool to have a mixture between cool tones within one palette, just so that way you guys can kind of get more creative. I know I have a huge problem with dipping outside of warm tone shadows, so I am going to do something more alongside like cool. You know what? I'm probably just gonna mix warm and cool together to get like a completed look, because I mean, this palette in itself, it's a vibe, okay? I'm just saying. Anyways, moving right along, I'm gonna pick the shade called Sassy, because we're going for more of like a sassy look, and I'm gonna rock it back and forth in my crease with the Morphe M441 from outer to inner corner. This is gonna be very soft, very blown out. It's really just meant to be my transitional shade. Okay, so now that I have that nice wash of kind of like peachy orange in the crease, I'm gonna deepen it up a little bit, and I'm gonna pick up the shade called Cheeky, which is more so a deeper orange, but not too deep, and I'm gonna start patting it right alongside the outer V area and just flicking my brush inwards to get a better blend. All right, so this is definitely coming along. It's coming together. Super short, sweet, and simple. I really want to go in with a shade called Clever, which is that really pretty kind of like lilac shade within the palette, and I'm thinking of just kind of like patting this onto the very inner part of my lid in a very kind of like messy way. Like, I'm not gonna cut my crease or anything like that, just because I want this look to be very, very effortless, if you get my drift. So I'm going to take a ABH A3 brush, and I'm going to start pressing the shade right here on the very inner part of the lid. Okay, so a little darker than I had anticipated. I'm going to pick up a little bit of the shade called Low Key and put it, ooh. Okay, so Low Key definitely is lighter than Clever, which is kind of what I'm going for. Like, that's kind of what I'm vibing with right there. And I'm just gonna kind of pat this on the very inner part of the lid without cutting my crease. I find that this allows for more of like an effortless look, and it doesn't leave things looking too sharp. So what I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna pick up some of Clever, and I'm gonna put Clever all over the lid, and then I'm gonna top Clever with some of Low Key. Now, I do want you guys to note that the shadow is going on completely dry. I have not wet my brush or anything like that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna spritz my brush with a little bit of Fix Plus, because I'm very curious to see just how foiled and pigmented the shade will go on my lid when I wet it with a brush. With an M441, I'm just picking up a little bit of Cheeky right here, as you can see, and I'm flicking that shade inwards, really just intensifying this outer V area a little bit more, and just buffing and blending the two shades together. Now, I will definitely say the shade called Cheeky is a lot darker than what I had thought when I first put it on, so I'm gonna go in with the shade called Low Key. I'm gonna spritz my brush with a little bit of Fix Plus, and I'm gonna pat this directly over top to lighten it up just a little bit. And this kind of has like a duochrome feel to it, so this is really going to kind of like change things up. So right now, this is kind of what I'm vibing with. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna switch over to using this Rose Gold palette by e.l.f. And I'm gonna pick up that warm tone brown shade with an M514, which is a little bit more of like a smaller blending brush. And I'm gonna start kind of like deepening up this outer V area because there is a little bit more of like an awkward moment where that peach meets the lilac. And I kind of just want to warm things up a little bit more and neutralize the color without it looking too orange. You know what, you guys, the purple just isn't as poppin' as I would like, so I'm gonna dip into the Palette Pro eyeshadow palette in the shade Sunset Dreams by Collab, and I'm gonna pick up a little bit of that purple and dab it directly over top. Now that that's done, I'm going to take a makeup wipe and I'm just going to clean up all of the fallout sitting underneath my eyes. And we're actually going to go ahead and move on to primer and foundation. I'm thinking about doing like wing liner, but I don't have a wing liner from e.l.f. So I'm kind of like debating on what it is that I want to do with the rest of the look. But we're going to take a little mini break and start working on the rest of the face. So to really hydrate the skin, I will be using this. This is the e.l.f. Prep and Hydrate Balm. It is in a stick packaging and it definitely reminds me of like the Milk Makeup Primer stick that everyone was using way back when. I don't even know if people still use it, but I never picked that one up, but it does look very, very similar in packaging. So I'm just gonna put this all over just to kind of, you know, hydrate the skin. And then following that, I am gonna go in with the Poreless Putty Primer by e.l.f. So many people have raved about this primer, and I will definitely say it is a really, really good like pore filling primer. What I like to do is I like to put it right here in this area to kind of just smooth out any, you know, of my pores and uneven skin texture. I also like to push it right here on my nose as well. Okay, you guys, so my skin, it's nice, it's primed. It's time to move on to foundation. Now, I do have a foundation from e.l.f. and I did pick mine up over at Target. I have 3 different shades of the Flawless Finish foundation. And the reason I picked up 3 shades is because I felt like this was too light, this was gonna be like slightly too dark, and this one was just like overly dark. I don't even know why I picked this one up. Don't even ask me. It actually looks a lot darker on the camera, so we gonna ignore that. But what I want to do is actually swatch each foundation shade on my face so that we guys can see the color range. The first shade I'm swatching for you is called Light Ivory, which is a fair foundation with golden undertones. Next to that, I'm swatching Vanilla, which is a light foundation with golden undertones. And lastly, I have Linen, which is a medium foundation with golden undertones. So these are the foundations swatched on my face. And as I predicted in the store, not even one of these match me. So I'm definitely gonna have to mix. This is like way too light. This is just slightly too dark. So I think I'm gonna use this one with just a slight bit of the fair foundation mixed in with it to get my perfect shade. At least I hope it's my perfect shade. So I did a little foundation mixing. This is what I came up with. We're just gonna go all in, you guys. Honestly, let's just pray for the best. And with a damp sponge, I'm just gonna kind of pounce everything around. Oh Lord, what is happening? This is hella light. You know what? I think I may need to just go in with the darker one and then just go from there and try to like lighten it up, because it's actually going on like pretty light when I blend it out. It smells like baby powder almost. Am I tripping? Actually, it smells like baby powder. So I'm not even going to lie. When I first started blending this out, I was like, oh my God, like this is the wrong color. It doesn't look good. But I will definitely say it's kind of like oxidizing a little bit, and it's definitely matching my neck a lot better than it was like 2.5 seconds ago. I was expecting something a little bit more full coverage. I definitely feel like this is hella sheer considering how much I put on my face. Like, I mean, you guys saw it. Proof is in the pudding. But I'm gonna go in with a little bit more as opposed to just kind of like streaking it on. I'm gonna pick up the product with my sponge and then just buff it in and see what happens. But for the most part, the color isn't too bad, but the coverage, honey, she's a little non-existent. What I'm doing now is I'm just going in with some more product, trying to really build this up to full coverage. And I know you guys are probably like, holy shit, she's like really painting it on. And I am. I really, really am. Okay, so 2 layers of this foundation, I personally feel like is gonna get you the coverage that you want, or that I want. Let me just speak for myself because, girl, I am not being shy about it. So if I had to say one thing about the foundation, baby powder. It smells like baby powder. Also, I found it very hard to kind of build up to this coverage. I felt like it was very, very sheer going on. As you guys saw, you could see a lot of like my sunspots and my acne and my scarring peeking through, and I just wasn't about it. Like, if I'm gonna put foundation on my skin, best believe I'm gonna want it to be full on coverage. Like, that's just my vibe. That's what I'm going for. I'm now gonna go ahead and move on to concealer. I'm gonna use the e.l.f. 16-hour Camo Concealer. I was expecting that foundation to perform very, very similar to the concealer, but not like so similar that I want it to be the same coverage, but like I want it to be just like blown away by it like upon first application, and I definitely wasn't, and I just want to be very, very honest and upfront with you guys. So anyways, back to the concealer. I'm gonna put this on, okay? 16-hour Camo in the shade Light Sand, and that shit's light. But concealer, this one, it does oxidize, BTW. Okay, so I definitely will say that the concealer kind of saved this look a little bit. Since the concealer is so full coverage, I feel like it just gave me that additional coverage that I was looking for. Granted, I feel like I have like a shit ton of product all over my face right now, but we'll get through it. We'll get past it. You know what I mean? So following concealer, I'm going to go in with some loose powder. I'm going to use the e.l.f. Beauty Shield Setting Powder in Sheer Natural. So I'm going to give this a little bit of a shake and really just press this underneath my eye so that way my concealer doesn't budge or go anywhere throughout the day. Now, I don't have like a face powder, so I'm actually going to use this translucent powder by e.l.f. to set my entire face down and in place, just so that way I have a thin layer of powder all over before I go in with my bronzer and stuff like that. So, oh honey, I look so powdery. Ugh. Now that I look like Casper the Friendly Ghost, I'm going to take a big powder brush and really just dust away all of that excess powder that's kind of just sitting on the skin and making me look hella white, because that is not the business, honey. Not the business. Anyways, moving on to bronzer. I'm going to take this by e.l.f. This is in the shade Forever Sunkissed. I actually do like this bronzer. Let's see if this helps. Let's see if this like warms up my skin in the best way possible, and then we'll spritz my face down in hopes that the powders just like melt into the skin. Okay? I'm taking a big brush like this. This is a Morphe M527, by the way. I'm also going to pick up a little bit of that bronzer and put it on the sides of my nose to add a little bit of shape to it. Got a little carried away on the nose contour, so I'm going to take a little bit of that loose powder and I'm going to put some right alongside my nose to kind of just clean up these edges here. And I mean, since I'm already here, I'm just going to take a little bit of that loose powder and put it directly underneath of the bronzer to clean it up and kind of just chisel out the face. I'm just going to hit my brow bone with a little brow bone highlight with a big powder brush. This one is by Morphe. I'm just going to kind of dust away all of the bake. Before moving on, before doing anything else, I definitely have to spritz my face with a little bit of setting mist. This is actually the e.l.f. Active post-workout cool down mist, but I really like to apply this before makeup, as a after the gym refresher. Whatever the case may be, I really, really, really do love this spray. So just gonna kind of, you know, give my skin a little spritz. Then with a damp sponge, I'm just going to kind of press the e.l.f. cool down mist into the skin. Actually, one of you guys told me to try this and I've been doing it recently and I really, 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 really do like it. So I'm just kind of just pressing it into the skin just so that way my foundation kind of just melts a little bit more and it doesn't look so powdery. So for highlight, I'm going to use this right here. This is the Metallic Flare highlighter in white gold. I have never tried this before. Ooh, that is actually very, very foiled, very metallic, and I'm about it. So I'm going to take a brush. This is just an ABH A23 and I'm going to pop this onto my cheeks. Gonna take a little bit onto the tip of my nose and also down the bridge. I'm now gonna finish off my lower lash line with a little bit of shadow. So I'm gonna go back into the Opposite Attract palette and pick up the shade called Cheeky on a flat definer brush. This is an ABH A1, and I'm just gonna press this closest to my lash line and connect all of the shadow together. Then with an M507, I'm just gonna go in and really smoke out the lash line. Then with a little bit of that warm tone brown from the Rose Gold palette, I'm just gonna push this closest to the lash line. And lastly, I'm gonna go right back into the Opposites Attract palette, pick up the shade called Low Key, and pop it directly in my inner corner for an added pop and a little bit of shine. So what I'm gonna do right now, you guys, is I'm gonna pop on some mascara and falsies, and then I'll be right back and we'll finish off with the lips. Bam! Lashes are on, you guys, and with that, I do want to do my post notification shout out of the day, and I want to give a huge shout out to Annabelle Ignacio. She says, I want you to start your own makeup line, girl. Me too. I want me to start my own makeup line, but it is so freaking expensive. She says, you're so good at knowing what's best for any skin types. Love your videos. Hashtag slaybase. Happy Valentine's Day and happy birthday, queen. Thank you so much, girl. I'm so glad you love my videos and you love my recommendations and all of that jazz. Hopefully one day I can have my very own makeup line, but only time will tell. Anyways, if you guys want to be my post notification shout out next week, all you have to do is click that bell and also leave me a comment down below with the hashtag slaybase. With that, I'm gonna move on to my lips. I wanna say this is the last and final thing I have to do because I don't have an e.l.f. blush. So we're gonna rock and roll without a blush today. The liquid lipstick I'm gonna use is called Nude Rose. This is a sheer matte liquid lipstick, and I think that it's gonna go really, really well with the look. I'm actually gonna go in with this liquid lipstick directly over top because I felt like the pink was kind of like clashing with the look, and I really want to do more so of like a neutral brown, which is what I have going on right here. Again, this liquid lipstick is called Coffee. And just like that, you guys, this is the final and completed look. What do you guys think? Let me know down below in the comments. I will definitely say I'm feeling it. I'm vibing with it. Like at first, I was like, hold up. This is like taking a turn. When I popped on the Nude Rose lip color, I just felt like it was clashing with the eyes. But once I put on this coffee color lip color, girl, my whole mood changed. I don't know what it is. I've really been obsessed with like brown liquid lipsticks or kind of like beige liquid lips or just like nude beige brown lip colors. That's just been my vibe recently, and when I put it on, I was like, yes, give it to me. I'm about it and I am here for it. The only thing I will say is that I'm not a fan of this formula and color together, simply because I felt like going on, it was very, very patchy. I had to layer on so much of this product to get it to this opacity right here, but nonetheless, I love the color, like love the color. Let me just say that. Another thing I wasn't a huge fan of from e.l.f. within this video was the foundation. Now I know I had high hopes for this, and I know a lot of people like it, some people don't like it, but I wasn't a huge fan of mixing two shades together. That's always just a straight up bummer because it just jacks the price of the foundation way up. I also wasn't a huge fan of the initial coverage of this foundation. As you guys saw going on, it was very, very sheer. You can see a lot of my acne, a lot of my dark spots, a lot of my sunspots peeking through the foundation, and I'm a full coverage kind of gal. I feel like if I'm gonna put anything on my face, I want it to be full on coverage, or I'm just like not wearing anything, if you know what I mean. So I had to put on a bunch of this to get it to be the coverage that I wanted, and then from there it just felt very, very heavy on the skin, and honestly I just wasn't a huge fan of it. So I would definitely pass on it, and that's me. But do whatever it is that you guys want. If you guys still want to give this foundation a go, then go for it. But I just wanted to give you guys my experience and kind of my thoughts with that particular product. So with that, I will have asterisks next to each and every single product product that I know and love and would recommend a million times over down below in the description. So make sure you guys check that out. And I'm gonna go. I love you. Thank you guys so much for watching. And until next time, I'll be sure to catch you guys all on the next one. Deuces.